Today, I'm going to be talking about the formal scene analysis assignment, which don't be intimidated by the word formal. It has nothing to do with getting dressed up. Feel free to do so if you like, but and maybe it's been a minute since you've had a reason to get dressed up, but moving on. The formal scene analysis, the word comes from the form of the movie. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the light, color, what they show you, what they don't show you, camera movements, the use of music, the non-use of music. Those are the forms. So what I want to do in this one here is I want to give you a crash course in the terms and techniques and things I'm going to be asking you to look for. And it may be in this document, it may be in a different one. Some of this may not make any sense to you. I'll talk about it in the next video where I actually talk about the scene analysis. So what I want to do is I want to use these GIFs and pictures here to kind of describe to you what these terms are. All right. First one I want to talk about is called the establishing shot. This is the first shot of a new scene of a movie, or if you are watching a TV show or whatever, it kind of tells you where you are in time and space. So obviously the beginning of a movie or a TV show, you're going to see that. But then if you go to other characters, you might see that as well. Recently, I was rewatching Black Panther, and of course, it starts out with the dream, and then we're in Wakanda, and then it goes to, it shows you like the British Museum, and that's where we meet Eric Killmonger, but it lingers on the outside of the British Museum, so we know the next shot we're inside the British Museum. So these two pictures that I have here that you're looking at, I have the picture of the outside of Seinfeld, which whether you know the TV show or not is kind of irrelevant, and I could update my material, but who's got time for that? So what I'm going to show you is when they transition from like Jerry's apartment or Yankee Stadium or somewhere else, they give you like some music, which Seinfeld is kind of known for this kind of funky bass line, whatever type of thing. They play that and they show you the outside of some place. And then the next scene is two people sitting having coffee, and your brain interprets this and understands it clearly that we are now inside this restaurant and this is where things are happening. Or this one, pretty famous one from Star Wars, where you get in the beginning, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, you learned that we're going to be in space and the rules of regular reality are going to be kind of suspended. And then we have this giant ship flying over us. We have multiple planets. We have space things going on, lasers, whatever. And you understand in the next scene that you are inside one of these ships where the action is happening. So an establishing shot is there to tell you where we are in time and place. The next three I'm going to talk about kind of together. The full shot, the medium shot, and the close-up are used to show different versions of similar things. So a full shot would be a picture that is being used to show maybe something very big or an entire person. You're not going to see a lot of full shots unless there's something important about the entire thing. Like when somebody's talking, for example, I'm not doing a full shot of this because I want you to be kind of closer on my face and my expression. You don't need to know what kind of socks I'm wearing, pants, all that kind of stuff. That's not important. For this shot you're seeing right here from one of the Star Wars movies, the full shot is of the explosion in the background, and it's kind of a medium shot of these two running, and it's close enough that you can see their expressions, which is important, right? Because they're acting while something is being blown up behind them. And what's cool about this movie is I believe they actually did build things and they blew stuff up. So when the actress and actor are running, they're actually a little bit worried about whatever's probably really blowing up behind them. So the full shot is of the explosion. This one right here from, I believe, the second Pirates of the Caribbean is where Jack Sparrow has been taken in by some cannibals and they are going to eat him and whatever. So this shot could have been done multiple ways. It could have been close on his face as he's like trying to run away. It could have been like closer so we see them run past or whatever. But it's kind of funny to show how far away they are from everything and how he's got nowhere to go and these people are just going to catch him eventually. But right now he's kind of doing his drunken run, whatever, ahead of them. So it is a lot funnier, and it's a cool choice to show the scope of everything. In a full shot where you can see how big this crowd is that is following him, as opposed to being close to him and maybe just looking over his shoulder to see that there's, 25 cannibals who are chasing him now. A medium shot shows most of the subject, and the subject doesn't have to be a person. It could be a car, it could be a phone or whatever. Like if you're just showing the top part of a phone or something, that would be like a medium of the phone. Or if it's just one word, it would be a close-up, which we'll get to in a minute. So a medium shot is like in this case right here, and these are all pretty Star Wars heavy because it was easy to find Star Wars GIFs or GIFs. We could have that argument, but I'm doing the video, so it's kind of a one-way argument. Anyways, Darth Maul right here, we don't need to see like what kind of boots he's got on or anything because we're interested in this like giant lightsaber that is filling up the screen. It's a pretty cool shot. But we can see his face, which he doesn't have a whole lot of expression, which is his thing. But we just see him from the waist up because we don't need to see anything else. We don't need to see above him. We don't need to see how big the room is or anything like that. And we'll get the reaction shot of the other people coming the other way. Most shots are medium shots. I don't feel like there's a whole lot we need to say about these. Now, as far as a close-up, close-ups seem pretty straightforward, like it's a close-up of something, but the purpose of the close-up shot is what's important, like why. I'm not going to ask you to just say, hey, here's a close-up shot and something's real close. That's not what I'm after. I'm interested in why did they do a close-up shot? What's important about this? So in one of the Star Wars movies here, why are they like slowly zooming in on Darth Vader's helmet? Why are they like then switching to Kylo Ren's helmet? Or if you've seen Inception, you know, the close-up shots of the totem and the top that is spinning are kind of significant. And if you haven't seen the movie, I won't take you through the whole thing right here, but I'll just tell you that it is made to seem that it's very significant. I would argue that it's maybe not all that significant, but if you want to know that, you got to take my science fiction class where I will explain that whole thing. Now, in extreme close-up, we're not going to be talking about this too much, but maybe there would be a reason to like zoom in on something, because what that does is it draws your eyes right to something. So if I had like a message or something and the camera was on it and it zoomed way in on like one word or one emoji or something like that, that would be useful because it would draw your attention to it as opposed to, oh, there's a whole paragraph here. I don't know what's important. So this one right here was Snape. And of course, somebody made the GIF so that it zooms in and out. I don't think it actually does that. This is kind of like amateur dad getting your band concert when you were in 6th grade or whatever type of thing, getting the camera calibrated. But maybe there is a purpose to zooming in on something very closely. All right, still with me? Let's talk about a little bit of movement. Dolly and tracking shots, panning shots, and tilting shots. It would be, well, maybe I'll end up adding some pictures to this and cutting out some of the document. But a dolly shot, a dolly is basically one of these things here that rolls. We're not going to have a dolly. It's unlikely that you have a dolly, but you probably can walk very smoothly and keep the camera or your phone or whatever it is you're using very smooth. Maybe you have a skateboard, maybe you have some skates or something like that. Maybe you'll roll yourself along as you dolly. Maybe you'll be driving. I don't know. Like whatever you're doing, make sure you're being very careful. But we may not be in school for all of these things when you're doing this. So I don't know how you're going to be doing your dolly and movements. But a dolly and a tracking shot is basically like you can see that BB-8 is like rolling along and things are moving in the background, but we're keeping him standard. So it's probably something that's like driving alongside him as he's being filmed. Excuse me. A panning shot would just be moving the camera left and right. Like maybe it's from the character's point of view. Like if my eyes are the camera, then it would be just, what is the purpose? Am I taking in the room or whatever? Am I just seeing what's to the left? Are we purposefully not panning all the way right, but we hear a sound effect over here because we want to know what's happening and we're making the audience wonder like what's going on over there? Tilting would be up and down, okay? I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of times where the camera just tilts up and down or moves left and right because you've got 360 degrees. So something that is like moving in different, axes or whatever. I just want you to know what a pan and a track is, and a tilt. So panning is left and right, tilting is up and down from a fixed point. A couple other ones, overhead high angles and low angles. These are similar, but there would be different reasons you would want to use them. An overhead would be something that is directly overhead, obviously, over whatever it is you're shooting. So for this one, as they're making the Albus Dumbledore pancake, they want to be able to show directly over it, nothing else. We don't need to see what kind of oven's going on or anything. For this one from Avengers Age of Ultron, they wanted to show like this central thing that these bots can't get to is important. And so they're showing like the perimeter of Avengers that are fighting them off and whatever. And they slowly zoom in on it because it makes it more effective to show that as opposed to just picking one part in the circle where you would show that instead. A high angle would be something that is from above the subject. So in this case, we've got a character who is being looked down on, and he is physically being looked down on because the person looking at him is standing higher than him. But also when we meet him in the show that we meet him in, the person looking at him is looking down on him because she doesn't like him. Just as a side note, this is Jon Snow from a TV show called Game of Thrones, and the person looking at him is his kind of stepmother. What happens is a guy named Ned goes off to war. He comes back with a baby, and his wife's like, wait, what? And he's like, it's war, honey. It's like, I got to take care of this baby. And there's more story to it, but he somehow convinces his wife and lets his wife know that we're going to raise this kid, and that's just how it's going to be. And so whenever she looks at him, she sees her husband's infidelity. So she always sees him as this like blight on their relationship. And he's also referred to as the bastard throughout the story. And he becomes more than that. But, that's, you got to watch Game of Thrones to see what I'm talking about. A low angle would be something that is shot shooting up at something to show how intimidating something is. So like that Jon Snow picture that I just talked about, his point of view where he's looking up at his adoptive mother would be looking at her that she is imposing, and while she's looking down on him. So these two that I took, we've got Luke Skywalker who's on the ground looking up at this Tusken Raider who's like about to hit him with a stick. We've also got, I don't remember who it is who's looking up at Ultron. I think it's just the for our benefit. I think he's just talking. He's just having like a soliloquy where he's talking about his big plan or something. We're looking up at him to show like how big this dude is and how powerful and impressive he is. So a low angle would show how tall and impressive and big something is. A Dutch angle is something I don't think you're going to see too much, but watch for them because a Dutch angle is something that is kind of askew or something tilted or something that starts maybe upside down and then kind of rolls into right side up. I used a shot from my favorite scene in Inception, which is, stay with me here. This is a part where characters are on a plane dreaming that they are in this city. And in the city, they're in a van where they're dreaming that they're in this hotel. Okay, still with me? So what happens is in the second dream, this van starts to roll down a hill. And while it's doing that, while they're strapped in, their brains are interpreting that they're rolling. And so while they're in this hotel, the whole thing starts to roll. So what it's doing is basically showing you what's happening there, but it's also showing you that the rules of the movie are going to not be the same rules as we would expect in reality. This is not something that would happen in reality. So we understand that we are in a dream within a dream. And then it goes from there. If you haven't seen Inception, check it out. It's fantastic. So that is a Dutch angle. Maybe watch for that. But, think about a movie where somebody gets hit on the head and then, oh my, and it's spinning and whatever. That's letting you know that everything that happens after that in film language might not be true. That you may get to the end of the movie and find out it was all a dream, or this all happened while I was knocked out, like Wizard of Oz or some other movie where people are always fainting, or maybe after somebody is given something or a chemical or whatever, something happens. An eye level shot, I don't have a picture of this. It would just be what is at the same level as what the character sees, or even from the character's point of view of what he or she or it is looking at. Reverse cutting, sometimes this one is difficult to understand. I'm going to use this picture here first. So if we have two people who are talking, so it's just me, and I don't think I'm going to splice in me talking to myself, but if I'm talking to you, all right, and you are in the scene with me, there'd be a camera outside of the shot, and it'd be looking over my shoulder at you, and I would, and there'd be one from behind the camera here pointing at me. And so the camera pointing at me would catch me saying like, so what do you think we should do today? And then the other camera would be filming you saying, I don't know, what should we do? It's a pandemic on, where are we supposed to go? And what are we supposed to do? So like this picture right here of the two people talking. I don't want to get into, there's something called the 180 degree rule, which I will get into. It is kind of insider filmmaking important stuff, but for a crash course in these kinds of things, I don't know if we need it. So right here's another one. Like we've got a character talking to the other one, and it's shot from both points of view, right? We've got this guy talking, we've got the other one responding, and you get to see their expressions, which is kind of the important part. It's not just talking. It's he's saying something important and the other one's responding. These are not the actual lines, but it's funnier than the actual dialogue because 90% of the dialogue in The Phantom Menace is pretty forgettable anyways. Okay, last two things I want to talk about deal with sound. There's diegetic sound and there's non-diegetic sound. If you forget what these are and you just remember one as the sound in the movie and the sound for us, that's just fine with me. But diegetic sound is sound that the characters in the film can hear and respond to. Like Captain America right here, him jumping and like hearing the pew pew whatever and the explosions and his tights ripping as he jumps off this thing or whatever. That is diegetic sound that he can hear and he can react to. If we hear like the sound of the giant alien thing hovering over him and getting closer, he can hear that as well. And he's like looking behind him going, oh my God, what is that? I need to like jump away. That's diegetic sound. However, if there is some hero music playing, Captain America doesn't hear his hero music and go, oh yeah, now it's on. He doesn't hear that. We hear that. That's for us. When there's a training montage and like some athlete is working out and we hear the music playing in the background, or when somebody's about to fight and you hear like dun 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 or whatever, that's for us. That's to get us kind of hyped about the scene. That's not for the characters. They don't hear that unless it's some kind of hybrid where, like, I know in the movie Creed, there's a part where it's kind of both. It's kind of cool. There's a montage with the four-wheelers driving with him and he's running and whatever. And like somebody like hit play on this old school boombox. And then they're like, he's running and they're playing the song and whatever. And he gets to the end and it's playing in the background because somebody's literally playing it in the background. So that is non-diegetic sound. That is sound that can't be heard by the characters. It's used to enhance the movie for us. So like the Indiana Jones theme or the Rocky theme or the Avengers theme or whatever. Or even if you're watching Cobra Kai and there's like the music playing in the background, that's the music for those people. Anyways, next time people watch this in 6 months, you'll probably go like, oh, what was Cobra Kai? I remember that thing. Times move quickly. All right, so that is a crash course in some of these terms. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to make a video and show you this in class that I'm going to show you a scene, tell you what's going down, try to break down what they're doing with like 10 or 30 seconds of the scene. And then I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. So refer to this document and refer to this video if you need to see it again in order to kind of remember what those things are. And you know what? If you don't get them right and you call the wrong thing, that's okay. I just want you paying attention to the movie and trying to say like, why did they show this? Why did they not show this? Why is there a part where there could be music, but it isn't? Or maybe there's music and it cuts out, it's real quiet, or something like that. Okay, on to the next one.